So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I do want to tell you guys the easiest way to ask questions is through our Q&A. So make sure that if you come up with any questions throughout the presentation, you can just put those in the Q&A and we will address them at the end. And that way we can, give you all the information that you need, and then we'll answer any questions that you have. So first thing we're going to talk about today is just a little bit about who we are and who Lone Star College is. So obviously you guys know, if you live in the area, you already know who Lone Star College is. But what you may not know is that we consist of 7 campuses, and we are all connected together. You can attend classes at any one of our 7 campuses, and you can switch between campuses depending on what programs you're interested in. Obviously, we are here today for the Montgomery campus, and we also have a number of centers, which are smaller buildings that are spread out around the region, and we have one in the Conroe area, and it's called the Conroe Center, aptly named, and so we actually have 2 different campuses that you can attend that are still part of the Montgomery. We are the largest institution of higher education in the Houston area, and we're the 3rd largest community college district in the state of Texas. The Montgomery campus has 16,000 students, so you really get that full collegiate feel when you go on campus because you've got so many students and so many different types of people on our campus that it's a really wonderful place to go to college. So we're excited that you're interested and here to join us. So just a little bit more information about us. We obviously, as a community college, we are partially funded by taxpayers like you guys, so that makes your tuition cheaper. So we are a very affordable place to go to school. You can go and take one single class for about $300, where you'd be paying, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times that at other state colleges, and you get the same degree. If you decide to transfer somewhere, you can start with us, transfer somewhere else, and that degree is exactly the same as if you had started there. We also have excellent faculty. We have a low faculty to student ratio. It's about 25 students to 1 teacher, which is probably smaller than some of your high school classes. Again, I talked a little bit about locations. We have 7 campuses. If you're coming to this session, it probably means that you're interested in the Montgomery campus, which is located on 242 and I-45. And then we have, like I said before, the Conroe Center campus, which is a little bit further up north in the Conroe area. We have a number of different classes and class times that can accommodate work schedules. The majority of our students are working, and we understand that. And so we have all kinds of different times that you can take classes so that we can work around your schedule. The other great thing is, as you probably know, all of our classes that you're going to be taking with us, or nearly all of the classes that you'll be taking with us, are fully transferable to colleges and universities throughout the state of Texas, and really they're transferable to pretty much anywhere in the United States. But that's going to really depend on the school. So if you're thinking about going out of state, it's definitely a good idea to check with that admissions office and ask them about their classes and what they accept. But we haven't heard of a lot of issues with all other colleges accepting our credits. We have a number of different degree types, which we will go into depth more here on another slide or 2. But you have plenty of different options, and this screen also just shows you some of the most commonly transferred schools that our students go to. We have hundreds of students who transfer to these schools every single semester, so it is definitely a possibility, and it can definitely work for you. So hopefully, if that's what your goal is, then we will be able to help you meet that goal. So the different degree options, just a little bit of a broad overview of the different types of degrees that you can choose from. There's the Associate of Arts and the Associate of Science. So if you are a student who is wanting to transfer to a four-year university, you would want to choose between the Associate of Arts and the Associate of Science. Those two degrees are very, very similar. Basically, the biggest difference between the two is the Associate of Science swaps out a couple of electives and adds in a couple of math and science courses. Otherwise, they're going to be exactly the same. But in general, if you are looking to be liberal arts or a fine arts major, such as English, history, something like that, Associate of Arts is going to be a good fit for you. If you are interested in math and engineering and sciences, then the Associate of Science will be good for you. Two other options, which you may not be as familiar with, is the Associate of Applied Science and Certificate. So the Associate of Applied Science is a workforce degree. So what that means is it is designed to get you into a very specialized program, a very specialized degree plan, and usually takes about 2 years or less, and it allows you to have a very special type of skill to get you into the workforce. So a great example of an Associate of Applied Science degree would be our nursing degree. So if you are interested in becoming an RN, that is actually an Associate of Applied Science. It's a very specialized degree. Those typically do not transfer because of the specialization of those degrees. Now, a lot of those degrees have some core curriculum in them, which means that it's classes that will transfer to any degree, but they're mostly comprised of very specific classes. So if you are looking at a specific trade or a specific skill, then the Associate of Applied Science is a great fit for you. And then that Associate of Applied Science is comprised of certificates, and that's the next option. So certificates are, they are something that you can take and earn over a semester or 2 semesters, and they build on top of each other, and they become an Associate of Applied Science degree. And or you can just stop before you get to the Associate of Applied Science and just do the certificate. So they're great for people who want to get a skill. For instance, an automotive. If you want to be a mechanic, then we have several different levels of a certificate for an automotive mechanic, and the more classes that you get, the closer you get to the AAS, and of course the job prospects are a little bit better the more skills you have. So, but it doesn't mean that you wouldn't have anything to show for it if you didn't complete the Associate of Applied Science. So definitely some great options. And then again, it also can help with occupational employment as well as advancement. So I just want to show you this screen really quickly because this is some of our popular programs, some highlight programs for the Montgomery campus. We have a lot of great programs. Our health sciences, our biotechnology, nursing, physical therapy assistant, and radiologic technology are very, very popular, and we have a great, very, very high success rate for those students. Our automotive, welding, and machining programs, those are at our Conroe Center campus, and they're fantastic. They've just renovated all of those facilities, and they've gotten all of the newest equipment there, and so they're fantastic programs. And then of course we have our fire science technology if you are interested in becoming a firefighter. Our live entertainment technology, if you're interested in learning how to set up and run live concerts, that's a great option for you. It's, again, another option with really high employment rate. So these are just a very small portion of the classes that we offer. And if you look at that link that's listed on this slide, it's lonestar.edu/programs of study. That will give you a full listing of all of the programs that we offer at all of our campuses, and then it will also show you what classes are required. It will give you all of the information for those, and as well as if there's any admissions requirements or things like that. So definitely you want to check out that Programs of Study webpage. So we'll talk a little bit about what type of classes you have to choose from if you're a Lone Star student. So there's a number of different course options. Right now, with our current situation with COVID and everything, a lot of our classes are going to be online. But I will just go through all of these with the information is just if there wasn't a weird COVID situation going on. So in a normal situation, you would have 3 different class type options to choose from, and that is on-campus classes, online classes, and hybrid classes. And so those on-campus classes are exactly what you think they are. They are in the classroom. They are offered at several times throughout the day and locations, and there's a lot of different choices to choose from that will fit your schedule, but it is a prescribed class time that you must go and meet with the instructor in the class, and you'll be in the classroom during that time. Then there is the online option. And that actually has 2 components for the first time this semester for the online option. There is the online fully your time online, which means you have a number of assignments given throughout the week. You are responsible for meeting the deadline set for those assignments, but there's no scheduled meetings. And then there's the online with the scheduled meetings option, which is basically where you would have a specific class time that's scheduled, where you would log in just like you did today on a WebEx, and you would have a class lecture taught by your instructor, and then you would also have some online work to complete throughout the week. So those are the 2 options that we have for the online. But we do also make sure that if you are going to be an online student, if you've never done an online class before, I wouldn't recommend doing it your very first semester unless you just don't have any other choice, like right now. Just because it does take a lot of, you have to be able to be self-motivated and make sure that you're organized and meet your own deadlines, because there's not going to be anybody who's checking up on you regularly to make sure you're doing your discussions or doing your homework. There's really, you have to be able to be responsible for your assignments. And then the third option is a hybrid option. So this is exactly like it sounds. You're going to have a combination of in-person and online coursework. Usually with the hybrid option, you meet in class once a week, whereas an on-campus option, you would meet 2 times a week or maybe 3 times a week. The hybrid is just 1 time. And then you will have assignments that are due throughout the week through the online portal. And so you will have a mixture of both. And we have a lot of classes that are hybrids because it just makes, it kind of gives you the best of both worlds and allows you to kind of do both options. So it's nice. And then the last thing that we have listed on this slide is called Next Start. So this is for students who want to get their classes done in a quicker time frame. So the classes will start after the initial start date of the semester. So for the spring, most of the classes are going to be starting in mid-January, but we also have classes that start later in the semester. So they're 14-week, 12-week, or 8-week options. So if you're a student who either didn't quite meet the deadline or have a conflict in your personal life that doesn't allow you to do the classes for the full entire semester, Next Start is a great option for you. And just keep in mind that it's the same amount of content, just in a shorter time period. So it's going to be a faster paced course. So it's not in, and then it's like if you guys have heard of a mini-mester, it's a little, it's longer than a mini-mester, which is 3 weeks. But if anybody that you've known has done a mini-mester, they'll tell you it's all-consuming for those 3 weeks. And so this Next Start is sort of similar to that in that it will be shorter length of time. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to decide what classes you can choose from. And as I mentioned earlier, the majority of our students are working, and so we do know that is a necessity for many, many people, and that's it's great we offer different times that you can take classes, but just make sure that when you are building your schedule, that you are also keeping in mind your work schedule. So you want to make sure, this is a good rule of thumb to follow when you're trying to decide how many classes you can take with how many hours you're working. So if you are going to school for 3 to 6 credit hours, and for those of you who don't know exactly what that means, most of our classes, with the exception of science classes, are going to be 3 credit hours. Your science classes are going to be 4. So you're going to take, an English and a history class, but you're working 40 hours a week. That's all we would recommend that you take. Don't take any more than those 2 classes, just because you don't want to set yourself up for failure. So you can see on this chart, the more credit hours that you take, you should be working less hours. So if you are a full-time student, that's 14 to 15 credit hours, you really should try to keep your work hours at 10 hours or less. That way that you have time to make sure that you do have time to do all of your homework and study and get good grades and all of this, because you want to make sure that you're successful. And just an important fact that overloading on work and school hours is the #1 reason students do poorly and have to drop their classes. That's what we hear all the time, is that they just bit off a little more they can chew. So plan ahead and do your best to make sure you set yourself up for success. Okay, so talking about setting yourself up for success, we have a number of campus resources available to you that can help you with that. We have our counseling services. We offer personal counseling, academic counseling, career counseling, and disability counseling. And then we also have counselors within each academic division on campus that can talk to you about very specific items. If you're looking for academic counseling about, say, the healthcare programs, they can talk to you about that. So definitely take advantage of our counseling services because they are fully trained and licensed professionals who can help you in a number of different areas. The other thing for you to know about is our Learning Center, which is also called the STAR Center on our campus, offers free tutoring for all subjects. So they absolutely do not pay anything for this tutoring, and right now for this current period that we're in, all of our tutoring is available online. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you enroll for your first semester. Don't wait until it's too late to seek out tutoring, okay? Because you want to make sure that you aren't already doing poorly in the class when you start to try that help. So it's always good to stay ahead of the curve. And, you can always just seek out tutoring at, even if you just want to clear up one concept or another, it's totally free. And the Right Place is another great option because they have a facility where you can go in and get your papers proofread before you submit them to your instructors for a grade. And so they're a great resource to make sure that you get the best grade that you can possibly get on your classes. And then we also have a number of student activities. We have a student life department where they hold, in a normal semester, where they hold all kinds of events all throughout the semester. And then we also have a wellness center. It's a fully stocked gym that's totally free to students, and as well as intramural sports, and then a number of clubs and organizations. So definitely a lot of options out there to get involved, and you definitely want to make sure that you do get involved when you come to classes and come to campus with us. And so I know this is something that's on everybody's minds right now, which is financial aid and payment plans. So there are 3 different types of financial assistance that's available. There are grants, loans, and scholarships. And we will talk about that in another session here, and I'll give information on that in just a minute. But I'm going to switch over to the payment plan option. So if you don't want to do financial aid for whatever reason, you can also just pay for the classes on your own, and we do have payment plans that allow you to pay throughout the semester, and that's a good option for a lot of students as well. So if you are interested in learning more about financial aid, and I would strongly encourage that you do that, we have a session tomorrow, and Dallas will show us next slide, and she'll talk about those remaining sessions here in just a minute. So go ahead, Dallas, and talk a little bit about what's coming up.
All right, so like Shannon just mentioned, we do have a few more sessions coming up just to kind of help everyone along with getting started. Since we can't all go to campus right now, we're holding these different sessions just to give everyone the information that they need and answer questions and not let you guys wait in an email inbox for these answers. So all of these QR codes are scannable. They will take you to a similar registration that you filled out for this session. Our financial aid session is going to be tomorrow at 5, again, through WebEx. And then next week on November 2nd, the rest of our outreach team will be doing a session for what you need to know after your application is submitted and how to work through your new student checklist items, which we will show you later on. And then we have another session on November 9th with our Honors College, and they'll talk about their separate admissions processes because you do need approval to be in that program. And they'll just walk you through all of the great things that Honors College has to offer. And so now we will get into talking about the application. When you apply to Lone Star, you will go to www.applytexas.org. The W's are oddly important. When you type them in, it won't take you to the right website if you don't include the W's. When you get to this web page, just a little bit down on the web page, you're going to see this image where it says Get Started or Log In. If you just click on that Get Started button, that is going to take you to this next page where you're going to create a profile through Apply Texas. So this page right here is not going to be your application. I wish it was that simple, but it doesn't take very long. This is going to create an Apply Texas account. So be sure that you use an email that you have access to. Be sure to fill out this information correctly because this is what's going to populate in any system for any college that you apply for through Apply Texas. Also create a password that you remember, maybe even write down the password just because you're not going to be accessing this a lot, but just in case you need to, it's good to have that information at your fingertips. Once you have completed the profile part of the application, you will then be taken to your account dashboard and you'll click on that My Applications tab there at the top. That'll take you to the next screen where it asks you what type of application it is that you want to submit. You're going to click on the Create a New 2-Year application because Lone Star is a 2-year school. That's then going to take you to a page that has some drop-down lists for which school you're applying to. If you click on that first drop-down list, it's by region, and the second drop-down list is alphabetical. As long as you find Lone Star College System on those lists, you will be applying to the correct school. It's then going to ask you if you're applying for dual credit or if you're applying for, if you're a senior in high school who's graduating and applying. So just mark yes or no for the appropriate answer on that. It will ask different questions depending on which one you choose. So choosing the right answer on this one is going to determine the type of application that you're filling out. We're going to take a brief break from me and turn it over to Charity, our admissions expert. She's just going to give us some tips and tricks that we often run into when we're helping students fill out their applications, and we will give it over to her.
Thank you so much. Before you get started with the application, there's a couple of things we would recommend that you have. Create a personal email if you don't already have a personal email address, because most likely if you use your high school email, that will be terminated once you graduate. So use a personal email that you have easy access because that's not only going to be your username, but you'll receive communication as far as your next steps through that personal email. The next thing is, as previously mentioned, in order to apply for financial aid, you will need to have your Social Security number. So make sure you have that ready. If you have a Social Security number, have that ready, input it. It's an option, but if you have it, go ahead and enter it into your application, because that will help your application process as far as FAFSA. And then also know if you're claimed as a dependent by your parents. This is a question you can ask your parents or your guardian. Just ask them, do you claim me as a dependent? And that should be something that they know right offhand. And also another important thing is know what school district you live in. That's going to play into your tuition and how much you pay. So remember, or find out what school district you live in. Most likely it's going to be Conroe ISD, but just verify. And then, like Dave said, the application is pretty simple. Just take your time, read the questions, and you should be done within 30 minutes, less than an hour. Okay. Once you get started with the application, there's a couple of questions that students usually get stuck on. Once you get to the program page or first choice of school, if you have an idea of what you're going to major in, go ahead and select one. If you're not sure, that's fine. You can always change it once you become a student and you meet with an advisor. On the other hand, if you do not know what major you're going for, go ahead and select non-degree seeking. And again, we can always change that later. It's okay to select non-degree seeking. All right. And the other thing that students usually have issues with, they'll type in their information as far as their school on this page. Make sure you click on that blue link that says Find Your High School. And when you click on that, there will be a pop-up where you can type in your school information and select the high school. And that will populate on this page. Don't try to type in the high school information. Use the blue link. All right. As I previously mentioned, these are very important questions. So when you get to the residency information, as a high school student, you most likely are claimed as a dependent. So you would answer it. As it is showing below. When it asks you to file your own income tax, you probably say no if you're claimed as a dependent, and then yes on the second question. You may file your own taxes, but again, your parents can still claim you as a dependent, so that's important to find out. And lastly, on the residency questions, just a reminder, when you get to this question, it's not asking you what school district you live in. It's not asking you what county you live in. It's asking what school district you live in. So we live in an area where we have Conroe ISD and we also have Montgomery County. There's a big difference, so make sure you're selecting the school district that you live in. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Cherokee. All right. So as soon as you have submitted your application, you should receive an email from LSCS Admissions, and it's going to congratulate you. It's automatic admission or acceptance through Apply Texas with Lone Star. So about 24 hours after, you'll receive an email letting you know that you've been accepted. And at the bottom of this email, you'll find your student ID number. Your student ID number is going to be very important for a lot of things on our campus. You're going to need it for your ID. You're going to currently need it for checking into campus through our health check that we have. So it's just a good thing to either memorize or, again, put in a note section in your phone and just have that on hand because you will be asked for it regularly anytime you're on campus or even anytime you're emailing various departments. They're going to need that so they can look into your account and assist you better. And then this is just a little preview of what our new student checklist looks like. This will, again, go over more in depth at our WebEx on November 2nd. Basically, once you've applied, you'll need to create a My Lone Star account. That's going to be your student portal for Lone Star College. A lot of high schools have different portals, Canvas, and things like that. So it's similar to that, just with college instead. When you do create your My Lone Star account, that's where you'll be able to find this new student checklist. And it's just going to walk you through submitting your placement test scores, making sure that you have your bacterial meningitis requirement met, making sure that you've done an orientation, registering for classes, and finally paying for your classes. Again, the URL at the bottom of this screen will take you to the registration for that WebEx session. And then we also have the URLs for these sessions on a later slide as well. These are the URLs down here at the bottom for the upcoming sessions, the financial aid, the next steps of application, and the Honors College. And if y'all have any questions, feel free to type them in our Q&A, and we will stick around and wait to answer them for you.
So while we're waiting to answer some of those questions, I do want to give you guys a little bit of information about how we are handling things right now during COVID. So we have a number of options for you guys to
what is this? Get out.
For you guys to meet with students. And
no. This is your counselor. This is not a counselor, baby.
Sorry about that. We have a number of options that you can use. So we have our traditional in-person options where you can come to campus. We do have all of our services are available in person, and it's limited, but we do have folks on campus who can help you. If that doesn't, if you're not comfortable with that, or if that's not a good fit for you, then you can reach us online. So we have our virtual Maverick Assistance Center, which is set up very similar to this.
Can you hear us?
And hold on.
No, she can't. No, she cannot.
I can hear you guys.
Oh,
I told you she can hear us. I told you.
Can you guys mute your mic for me, please? All right. So we have the Virtual Maverick Assistance Center, who is, it's fully staffed with our admissions, our advising, and our financial aid departments, and it's set up very much like this right here, where you log into a WebEx, and you can meet with any of those people live, and you can talk to them live, and it's very much like a face-to-face option. You can, and that is available Monday through Friday from 9 to 4, and then also on Saturdays. And you can also see all of the links for the virtual MAC. If Dallas, would you mind putting that in the chat for us for the student resources page so they can have that as well. And so the VMAC is, the link for the VMAC is there. The third option, or I guess, yeah, the third option would be live chat. So you can access live chat and chat with any of our admissions, advising, financial aid folks through your My Lone Star account and reach somebody that way. And then, of course, the fourth option is your traditional email or phone. But I would definitely recommend taking advantage of the VMAC because it's going to be the most efficient way for you to meet with somebody. So you guys have if you guys don't have any other questions, that is all the information I have for you guys today. What I would definitely encourage you guys to attend the FAFSA and TAFSA workshops. That's tomorrow at the same time. They're going to walk you through all of the steps and the important things to know about the TAFSA and the FAFSA, and then of course, like Dallas mentioned, next Monday we have the follow-up session to this one. So definitely you want to attend that. So Dallas, you said that you've gotten a few questions in the chat. Are any of the questions ones that might apply to other people that they would want to hear about?
So I've gotten a couple questions about, what if I've been a dual credit student, do I need to apply again? Or what if I've taken college credit classes over the summer, do I need to apply again? So I've answered a couple of those. If you are currently a dual credit student or have taken dual credit through Lone Star already, you do not need to reapply. There's just going to be some additional checklist items that you'll need to take care of. So if you just log into your My Lone Star account and take a look at your student checklist, most likely, unless you've done like a workforce class where you've had to come to campus for Lone Star, you'll need to take care of your bacterial meningitis requirement, and then you'll also need to do a new student orientation, which you can sign up for those through your My Lone Star checklist as well. And then if you've taken college credit classes with us over the summer or just randomly during a semester, depending on how long ago it was, you shouldn't need to reapply. If it has been a couple years, I would check on that because our system, depending on what type of application you did, now that we use Apply Texas, it may not be in our system anymore. So that's something that we can check on for you as well. If you wanted to shoot somebody an email, we can look into that. Let's see. And then I have one that says, for a student who does not have any idea what they want to major in, is there a list of classes that would be best to take that would most likely apply to most degree plans? So for that question, if you got your core classes out of the way, you could either just become core complete and transfer to a university, depending on if you have found a major that you would like to do, or you can get an associate's degree with Lone Star and then decide what you want to do after that. So there's lots of options. My suggestion would just be to start focusing on your core classes that you would have to be required to take at any university anyway.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about Core Complete is that if you transfer to any Texas public college or university, and you are Core Complete when you transfer, and Core Complete is 42 credit hours. It's basically the entire associate's degree without the elective courses. If you're a full-time student, you would complete that in a year and a half or a year and a semester. But if you are Core Complete, when you transfer to that public Texas university or college, that Core Complete status will transfer with you. So what that means is, let's say you decide to transfer to Texas A&M University, and their core looks slightly different than our core because they have a different English class that they require for their core, or a different math class. When you get there, it doesn't matter what that core looks like, because our core replaces anything on their core. So it can really save you a lot of time, and it can help with making sure that your classes match up exactly, especially if they if you're not really sure which school you want to transfer to. Core Complete's a super safe option to make sure that whenever you do transfer, your credits are all going to transfer the way that you want them to do. So that was kind of, that's an important thing to remember as a really great option for you when you're thinking about transferring. So I see a question in the Q&A. Are we able to access the LSC tutoring if we are in dual credit? Yes, absolutely. A dual credit student is still considered a full Lone Star College student with us. So you are able to access all of our student services and resources as if you were a student that was coming to our campus every day and taking classes with us. So absolutely, always feel like you can take advantage of that. Alice, are you getting anything else or any more questions?
Back to the one about the summer classes. The summer classes were STEM classes. Do those still require an LSC application?
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about with STEM classes. If you're talking about the Discovery College, maybe, you'll have to give us a little more specific information on what you're asking about. If it was a college class that you earned college credit for, then you will be fine. If it was a enrichment program, like a summer camp, where you learned about science and you learned about different things, but you didn't actually like get a grade at the end, then that would be different. You would still need to do an application. So, all right. We will stick around for another couple of minutes in case you guys have questions, but we thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope that you will join us at our next sessions coming up, and we appreciate you being here, and we look forward to seeing you on campus.
Last question, do we have a link for Core Complete classes?
I can provide you with the link, yes. Give me just a moment, and I will provide you with the link for Core Complete. So another way that they may call it for Core Complete is academic transfer requirements, and so that's what you're going to see here. But let me send that over to you right here. I'm going to throw it in the chat. You can also, if this link doesn't work for you, you can also just go to our Lone Star website and just in the search bar, just type in core curriculum, and that will take you to this page as well. Okay. And I see a question in the chat asking about where the Q&A is. You can always ask the question in the chat where you are right now, or the Q&A should show up right below the chat box.